You will. So we're going to get these questions on the screen in just a second here. But if you do have any further questions, we'll see if we actually can get past question number one. I'll be surprised if we do. But when you guys are ready. Okay, we got the first one. All right, Dr. T. We went from PG to PG-13 to rated R, and we stopped at rated R. Here's the PG one.
I believe that this question is for Linda.
All right. Miss Linda, is it okay to kiss once you are engaged?
I don't think that's. It's up to where your standard is at. What kind of standard did you place on on the relationships? What did you decide to do? Before you met the person, what did you decide that you wanted to do? Some people make a decision that they're not going to kiss until the day they get married, and so if they make that decision before they've met that person or started going out with them or whatever, then they need to keep it, because that's the standard that they set for themselves. If somebody else made a decision to kiss when they get engaged, is it a sin to kiss when you get engaged? No, it's just what you do after you kiss. I mean, what do you know what I'm saying? So
You can't say that anymore.
what?
You know what I'm saying.
Okay, well, do you have anything to add to that? I think it's a hard thing.
I think probably the only thing that I have to add to what Linda said is this, is that you never know what mistakes you've made until after you regret them. If you choose not to engage physically at all, you have no regrets. If you choose to engage at a particular level, I suppose that's up to you. But all I can tell you is that we minister to people all the time that live with guilt and shame after they're married for the things that they did before they ever were. And so, as far as is it okay? Kissing's nice. But is it what God put in your heart before you ever went out with someone? Because that's the standard that you need to hold after you did.
And you don't hold the standard just because somebody else said, this is a good standard. It's got to be a conviction of your own heart. If it's not a conviction of your own heart, then you never can keep that standard. And it doesn't mean that it's so totally wrong, as long as you're doing things that the Word of God tells you to.
And at the same time, two things have to really be evident. Number one is that people need to act as they're adults. If you're old enough to get married, then you're an adult. Just because you can make a baby doesn't mean that you're an adult. But if you are old enough to get married, then you are an adult, and you need to be mature about it. And you need to be pure about, the question. So is it okay to do something? It kind of depends on what you think. As far as I'm concerned, I've never had a person ever yet that has decided to wait to kiss until their wedding day who ever regretted their sex life. But I've had many people who have engaged with one another physically before they ever got married who did nothing but regret everything they did. So I can only tell you what my experience has been in having now, counseled people really as a Christian, I've counseled people for over 30 years now. So stories are the same, generations change, and people's standards change, and they're not getting any higher. So if you hold a high one, everyone in the world is going to try to, try to judge you over holding a standard. Well, don't judge me for holding the standard if it didn't really bother you so bad. It must bother you really horribly, otherwise you wouldn't talk to me about it. Is there any kind of bounce back on that? Does anyone have a question about that? Brian?
Just what I've learned, I've engaged physically before marriage, and I can tell you what, it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, Brian said, that it's a regrettable thing to actually get into all of that stuff. And so, having said all of this and just dealing with kissing, it's really up to the standards that you want to hold for your marriage. You never make a mistake in anything by waiting. You only make a mistake by going too far. And if your brakes work really good, then you're awesome. On the cars I have had, I don't have brakes, so.
Or the back seat of cars that you had.
Yeah,